name's Kacie Lees, and I'm based in Chicago, Illinois.
That's a really not stretched out one. This neutral gray, it's transparent neutral gray, so it's kind of meant to be stretched out a little bit, right? Or thinned out a little bit.
I'm a neon artist and educator at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago and NYU, and I teach the craft of bending neon lights. So, this June, as the Sheldon Levin Memorial Visiting Artist at the Museum of Glass, I'm working on a new body of work exploring the origins of space and time as an act of universal subatomic solidarity. These are meditations on matter. They're kind of a contained chaos at a huggable scale. I come from the neon world, so light has always been a part of my practice. We've put tubulation on them so that we can introduce them to the neon lab and fill them with gases so that we can turn them into vessels full of plasma, which is the fourth state of matter. Okay. There's another track where these works become light sculptures and modulate the light through their shaping and color. We are working with a very sparkly aventurine color. That's this pond and blue selection that has just this like eternal sparkle that goes back in time, and fading that out. We're working a lot with fades between neutral grays and opalescent whites, and there's a very special dichroic frit. There's a black dichroic frit and a clear dichroic frit that are giving a super sparkly galactic feel to the works. The technique is to use a cold punty and pull out from the hot glass to make these little jet forms, and then we're also doing these sucked in areas. Time and gravity play a big role in this collection, not only as a source of conceptual ideation, but in the act of shaping and collaborating with the glass's material properties. Blowing glass is a constant response to gravity. There's this law of conservation in physics that states matter cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. And to me, that is art. Reshaping and recycling matter by using the energy of our bodies, like that is the foundation of art for me.
Thank you, everybody. My name's Susan. I'm Curator of Education here at the Museum of Glass, and it's my pleasure and honor to introduce Kacie. And that video was a super introduction to your work. Thank you, AV. Serena, Cole, thank you. They do these wonderful videos for each of our artists in residence. And as you heard, this is a Sheldon Levine Memorial Residency. And Sheldon was a docent and MC here from 2002 to 2015. And he had degrees in nuclear physics. And he worked at the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard and specialized in underwater acoustics. And what an honor it was to have him working here. And he helped us create our school program, Science of Art, which teaches the intermingling of science of art in an interdisciplinary fashion, as is revealed on the hot shop floor. So this is a perfect residency for you to be honored under. And I'll be brief because that video was so explanatory. But Kacie is an impassioned and dedicated scholar specializing in neon fabrication, whose opulent site-specific installations elucidate nature and history through the ineffable phenomena of light. And she has an amazing little book that explains it all in our shop. It's really great. She teaches innovative and media-rich neon courses at prominent cultural institutions throughout the United States, including New York University, the School of Art Institute of Chicago, and the Museum of Neon Art in LA. with research focused on the intricate physics of light and innovative learning methodologies. Kacie's professional work and classroom objectives synergize to form learning environments where exploration and creativity know no bounds. I think that really hits it on the head. Thank you. It's so great to have you here. I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you in the future in our Science of Art program.
Yes.
Yay.
So much. Yay. Oh, right, microphone. Awesome. Thank you so much. Hi, thank you for coming to my artist talk today. I put together some slides of my work that kind of got me here, and some work in the past year that really led to the creation of the work we're doing on the hot shop floor. So this is processing video at the Museum of Neon Art in Los Angeles, and it kind of gives you an overview of a speedy overview of the technical components and actions going into processing neon work. Besides the bending part, there's the processing part and then also the installation part. And I feel there's some similarities in the hot shop. There's the blowing part, and then there's the cold working part, and then there's the installation part too. So you kind of need a bunch of different brains to make this work come together. Here's another video from the Museum of Neon Art, kind of showing some of the technical elements of attaching electrodes. And this is what some of the pieces here will be filled with. We'll attach the electrodes and we'll fill the vessels with gas instead of just a uniform tube. We're going to fill the entire shape and vessel with pressurized gas. This is a local photo from Western Neon School of Art in the Soto district, working with Danny Kays and Will Kirtley and Dylan Newworth, making kind of a graduated neon sign that's 10 feet long. It was the longest sign I'd ever made at that time, and it still is the longest sign I've ever made. A little picture from NYU this last semester. I like to give my students no limitations on how many neon units they can process. It's really up to you and what your project desires and how much energy you want to give to the craft. And I feel like that reciprocates out. This long kind of worm-footed guy on the left was one of my favorites from this semester. Here at the Art Institute of the School of the Art Institute of Chicago is where I teach the most. And we really get into elements of gravity and playing with scale. And are we hanging it? Are we wall mounting it? Are we floating it? Anything you can imagine, we'll figure out a way to do it. I think I'm most known for this book, which is Neon Primer. It's everything I know about neon in one book. The first edition was coil bound, and I hand screen printed all 200 pages of it, 100 copies. The book itself has fluorescent ink in it. It also has black ink. That's it throughout the whole book. So it's an interaction with light just in the process of using color in the printing technique. There's also, it breaks down neon as simply as I can make it, because it's not easy, but, you practice and you know a lot more every day that you work on it. So for this book, we have step-by-step guides and then fold-out posters and patterns that you can just rip right out of the book and use in the studio. Also, it's a little maybe small to see on this screen, but this is a fold-out of the entire shop envisioned as a community table, so separated by the stages of production. So the first section is bending, the second section is processing, the third section is aging, and the fourth section is packing and shipping. Oh, great. And really localizing it, the images and print ephemera from the production of the book were on display here in the Sheben's Reimagining. I'm going to butcher that name. Re-envisioning neon education, a riff off of that. But it was really special because Lynette built this viewing box to kind of see the mind around production while I was making the book, and all of these things that just live in a little box unless we get to display them. A lot of times when I am asked to participate in neon exhibitions, if it's a neon show, there's already a lot of neon in it, right? Like, you know, they got 5 artists, 5 different neon pieces. So I'm always kind of thinking about like how to use these materials in ways that we're not familiar with. So this is my big blank wall. And when you saw this at the exhibition, you walk in and you go, oh, cool, they forgot to hang something there. It's a big, empty, dark, lit wall. But what happens is you use a UV light that's hanging over on the left there, and you can find this hidden action painting. The painting is made out of phosphors. It's the inside coating of clear glass neon tubing, and phosphors are just powdered rocks. So, like, different rocks glow different colors under UV light. So what I did was I took those phosphors, I suspended them in gel medium, and I did an action painting all over this wall, so you can kind of find different moments of color when you drag the UV light across the wall. Most recently, I had an exhibition at Urban Glass in downtown Brooklyn. This is from the outside. It's called Primordial Nucleosynthesis, and it's a lot about what I'm interested in from learning about neon production and learning the origins of space and time and kind of simplifying the elements in neon production. It just taught me so much about space, and I learned about physics and kind of early illustrations of the cosmos and kind of how we got to our current understanding. One of the pieces I want to talk about is inspired by, does anyone know this image? It's from the James Webb Space Telescope from, I think, 2022. They found a galaxy that looks like a question mark, and I was like, oh, I love that. I gotta do something about that. So I took that image, and I printed it out, and I went to the metal shop, and I started to forge, I think it's 1/2-inch steel rod over flame. It very much mimics the process of neon. You strategically heat a section, bend it, and let it cool and take its shape. So that became this form to suspend neon on. And so that was in the show. This green is like a sneaky, creepy, bright green, even though there's no mercury in it, which usually makes the signs very, very bright. This one was luminous, seemed to be on its own. And then that's the print from the metal shop floor. So it's got some scratches and stuff on it, but that's what I like about it. And then I'm going to talk about that piece in the middle that's standing on the pedestal with the legs. It's inspired by William Herschel's map of the Milky Way galaxy. I think it's from 1785. So we're looking at this display, observed from Earth. So our sun is that central dark star. I have a pointer. There. It's right there. That's our sun. And then these are all other suns that are in the galaxy. And these are smaller stars around it. So in turning that piece into a piece of metal, there was a lot of illustrator work tracing the big stars, tracing the funny little shapes that are tiny stars, and then working with the plasma cutter at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago to cut out this big metal shape. And then fit the neon to the metal. I mean, you could go either way, neon first, metal second, but it made more sense for me to kind of wiggle that neon around the metal shape. And at first I was playing with kind of a double layer of color, like drawing from oil slicks and kind of that like that chaos that happens between water and floating oil, and landing on this singular outline piece that was in the show. So that is all the topic and material that kind of got me to this residency, and that's my last slide. Thank you. Thanks for checking it out. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts? Oh yeah.
How long a section of tube can you bend at a time comfortably and get what you're looking for?
The question was, how long of a section of tube can you bend at a time and get what you're looking for? Great question. It's strategic in the way that the max you can really get is on a ribbon burner that's about 18 to 20 inches. And the majority of bends that you're doing are really only going to be 2 inches at a time, especially with lettering, because you're making a piece of tubing go to the back. So you're just heating a little section, and then you're nudging it over, and then you're dropping it a little bit. And so much is very similar to glass blowing in relation to time and gravity, but specifically time, because if you go right back in, it's going to collapse on you, and you got to find that sweet spot. And that just, it takes time. It doesn't take forever. I think what's misleading about neon is that you need 10 years to be good at it. It's like, maybe if you're doing someone else's work, but if you're finding your own way in neon, I mean, we're doing that in a week, we're getting there, and there's just only 3 skills that you need to know. So just practicing those 3 skills over and over again gets you where your drawings can go, and it's just an endless source. You can make anything, any kind of like line drawing. So bringing in the volume with these forms is otherworldly to me. Hopefully otherworldly, right? That's kind of the idea. Any thoughts or questions? Yes, ma'am? Yeah, it's totally different. I was like, yeah, if you guys want to like faux set up like me doing some rolling on the bench and stuff, so it looks like I'm doing it. And within like 20 minutes, I was like, oh my God, I'm not even going to fake it. It's just like they're such professionals, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they can kind of feel that weight of gravity, and they can see a few steps ahead in glass. And I can do that in neon, and they really don't, the skills don't translate. I'd love to learn. I've played once, and I made like the world's ugliest flower, and my aunt loves it, so bless her heart. But it's another dedication, and I mean the staff here has been working for 23 years, 15 years, just perfecting their craft, and I'm so totally blessed that they are sharing their thoughts and feelings with me along the way, because they could be great at it and be like, oh yeah, it doesn't work like that, oh, it doesn't, we don't want to do that, but it's like, they're like, have you tried this? Like, let's get this color. So a lot of this like magic is absolutely coming from the staff here, the super talented staff that's able to produce everything. Go Sarah and Gabe and Serena and Trent and just freaking everybody, and Kristen, and I mean, it's just a whole working system here, and it's a team sport. I think the main difference is neon, you can do all by yourself, and it can be fast. You bend your sign, you pump it, 2 hours later, you're done. No, this is 4 people at a time, 3 to 4 people, and then you got to let it cool overnight, and there's just so much anticipation, and there's like so much excitement. And so, yeah, we've been revealing today, like, these guys came out yesterday. These guys are, like, heavy because of my interest in the optical properties. Sarah Gilbert was saying to start working with some thick glass so that we can see the shadow of the frit on the surface of the interior ball. And then this incredible translucent color that it goes from blue to like orange depending on certain lights. I mean, it's just majestic. So kind of just overlapping these optical properties to make something that you can stare into and get lost in, I think, is the main objective. Any other questions or thoughts? Yes, ma'am. Sure, the question is, so you're going to put neon in them. Yes, let me pull from the examples here. Oh, I don't have any with tubes. It looks very similar to what we're working on for the rest of today, which is kind of another form of this shape, but it has a little bit of a tubulation on the end. Like so. And then this part will get an electrode. So depending on how closely I want to place the electrode, it'll be a single-ended electrode with a tubulation that gets connected to the manifold. And when you're working with vessels as opposed to tubing, tubing heats evenly with an electrical current. And because there's so much variety in this shape, and there's not a lot of variety in thickness because professionals are bending this very incredibly. But because it is a vessel and it has some variation, it's going to need to be put in the kiln to warm up to remove impurities. So once the impurities are heated out of the glass and vacuumed out of the glass, we suck out as much air as we can in that space, heat up the electrode so that the electrode releases its impurities, and then we slip just a little bit of gas in there and it'll spread out in the low pressure environment. And then when you introduce an electrical current, since it's a single electrode, the course of electricity doesn't know where to go. In a two electrode system, like a tube, the current goes from one electrode and it finds the other electrode, which is the metallic point. So in a shape like this, the current will go up and destabilize and try to find a way to connect kind of like through the air outside of the vessel. So it'll jump around a bunch. And if you go to touch it, it's going to ground to you. So you are water body and an electric body. So the current is like, I'm just going to go through you. But what's great is glass is an insulator, so that's going to protect the current from jumping out and zapping you or shocking you or something like that. And with the metallic elements in these pieces, I'm really excited. I was a little worried. I was like, ooh, should I not put dichroic frit because it has kind of metallic bases, and this blue color is a metallic color. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't. But I just asked my friends that do plasma, and they go, nah, that'll probably look cool. So I was like, all right, let's do it, you know? Yeah. No. Any questions? Any further thoughts? Cool. Well, thank you all for coming and checking out my talk. If you have any questions, I'm on the internet at kacielees.com. I have Kacie Lees on Instagram. Very easy to find. I keep it simple. kacielees@gmail.com. Tell me what's up. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it's a little different, and I kind of don't know why. But some of these pieces have glow-in-the-dark powder enveloped in their layers. So when you add a UV light to it, or we'll see what happens with the argon carries a little bit of a UV current too. So if I pump these with a mixture of argon and krypton, it might light up this kind of like ghosty Milky Way trail of luminescent phosphors under there too. So this piece has some phosphors in it, and because the ambient light in this room, I wouldn't say it's super bright, but it's a little too bright to show off as a vivid example. But there's some phosphorescent powder in here that lights up, and I think we saw that in the video too, which is awesome. I'm glad they got that shot in there. And it'll stay lit for a little while because it's holding the energy of the UV light, and then it's releasing it slowly at a different rate. And also on these pieces, we're kind of doing some technique that I like to call frit applique. So Sarah heats up a little hot spot on the glass, and then I use tweezers to place like a big chunky piece of frit, just to give it a lot more texture and a lot more variety. And I think what you can't get out of neon is color shifting, and you can't get texture. So the ability to get into color and texture with the blown forms is endlessly inspiring to me. Cool. Yes. My book is upstairs at the gift store. Neon Primer. I think I brought like 15, 20 copies, so if you are interested, it's a little black cover book. Sometimes it's right here. Oh, there we go. Cool. And it's everything I know about neon. It's the same as that screen printed book, but it's a print on demand book that didn't take me 3 months to physically print. So it's a little bit more readily available. Cool. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. And the hot shot will be back in about an hour. They're going to have a quick lunch break. So check us out again. Thank you so much for being here.